Harry Kane's goal against Manchester City had two major impacts. First off, it made him the highest goal scorer in the history of Tottenham Hotspur, surpassing the late great Jimmy Greaves, who was of course a legendary goal poacher in his days and in fact was a good striker not just for clubs like Tottenham but other clubs like Chelsea as well. So the fact that Kane could actually surpass him and actually surpass a rather old record, well, massive deal in itself. Perhaps more importantly for Arsenal fans though, it did keep them in the title hunt. Why? Because Arsenal had lost their match earlier in the weekend to Everton, but because City also lost, that 5-point lead stays intact. However, this video isn't really about Arsenal or their title chances. It is in fact about Harry Kane and what it is that he's managed to accomplish. Despite being someone who's come through Spurs Youth Academy, he's become someone who, was the talisman for the club, a big player for his country. But is this particular feat of his going to be what it is that he will be remembered for at Spurs? Is this going to be the end of his legacy at Tottenham? Is this going to be his so-called last dance? That's what we're going to be exploring in this video here. But before we talk about whether or not this is, him drawing the curtains on his Spurs career, let's just quickly take a look at what exactly it is that he managed to accomplish with that one goal against City, aside from, of course, getting Tottenham all 3 points. So the first thing that it is worth noting is that he now has the record for the most number of goals for Tottenham Hotspur with 267, and of course this figure is only going to go up because Kane is still very much a player in his prime. What's more, this goal was also his 200th Premier League goal, and that makes him the 3rd player to reach that landmark. Who are the first two? Well, they happen to be fellow English strikers Alan Shearer and Wayne Rooney. What's more, it definitely, if it wasn't already certified, it definitely solidifies his stand as a legend for Tottenham Hotspur. Because again, Tottenham in recent years haven't really had that much to celebrate, but producing arguably one of the finest English strikers ever, well, that has to be something worth celebrating, right? Well, yes and no in some ways. We'll get to the no in a bit, but first, let's talk about Kane's journey through his career. Remember, he was someone who came through the Spurs Youth Academy, a boyhood Spurs fan, Tottenham Hotspur through and through, was given a chance at a time when the club were going through a bit of turmoil, became their figurehead as the club entered an era where they became regular top 4 finishers and even challenged for, although couldn't win, trophies. Now, of course, he's developed into a top-class number 9 and is even the captain for Tottenham Hotspur and also for England, where he has, in fact, shown for the 3 Lions. But, of course, we know how it is in football. He's always going to be looking at how it is a player does for his club. And Kane, well, he's been fantastic. He's been phenomenal. He's been Mr. Spurs. He's been the player who's really carried the club on its back. A lot of their world-class players have come and gone, but Kane has stayed. Not that it was entirely just down to him, of course, because as I said, well, this may very well be one of those last acts of Kane's career, at least in Tottenham Hotspur. Why? Well, because the contract that he's currently signed with the club, he has signed it all the way back in 2018 and it was a 6-year deal. Again, I don't understand the logic of signing a 6-year deal with a club that isn't really guaranteed to win anything, but hey, you do you, Harry Kane. It runs till 2024. That is 1 year away from now. So panic stations are definitely going to be ringing at Tottenham Hotspur. And don't forget, he did try to leave the club in the summer of 2021. He very publicly went on an interview with former Manchester United player Gary Neville, said that, look, I'm ready for a new challenge. And he very publicly pushed to leave the club. He couldn't leave the club. He actually ended up staying. But the reason he ended up staying was that massive contract, because at 2021, he still had 3 years on his contract. So Daniel Levy, Spurs chairman, said that, look, we're going to hold you to that contract. We're not going to sign you unless a massive deal comes through. As for whether or not he'll sign a new contract, because again, Spurs in recent times under Antonio Conte have been enjoying something of a revival, but we know how things are with Conte. It can be volatile, it can be up and down. We don't really know whether Conte is even willing to stay on for a 3rd season. And Conte has definitely enjoyed working with Kane. Kane's enjoyed working with Conte. There have been news reports saying that Kane would be open to extending his stay, but that has quietened down a lot and he has been linked to clubs like Manchester United, where, truth be told, he would have a better chance of winning silverware in the coming season. So it could very well be that becoming, Spurs' the record goal scorer in all times, will be the thing that defines Kane's career at Tottenham Hotspur. Because again, the one thing that all top players want, or that really any player wants when they get into football, is to be able to compete for trophies. Kane has come close on multiple occasions, but in very Spursy fashion, unfortunately, they've fallen short. Remember 2015-16, when Leicester won that fairy tale Premier League, Spurs were the team that were closest to actually eclipsing them. They couldn't do it in the end. They came close to winning the Champions League in 2019. That didn't happen either. They came close to winning a League Cup in 2021. Again, that didn't really happen. So it's been a case of so near yet so far, yet 267 goals scored and having won no trophies. That's something that will rankle at Kane. So maybe he actually decides to take the plunge and leave in this summer. And again, remember, for Spurs, if they don't sell him this summer, they're going to risk losing him next year for nothing. So a sale would make sense. But that's just how I feel about all of this. What do you guys think? Well, you can let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Last but not least, don't forget to download the AajTak app as well. Thank you all once again for joining us. Again, if you're on the channel right now, don't forget to check out some more videos. For now though, from my side, goodbye.